Welcome to Cash Talk, the podcast where we delve into the depths of finance, business, and life itself. I'm your host, John Cachia, a multi-award winning wealth advisor with a passion for empowering ambitious Australians to confidently achieve financial freedom. Hey everyone, before we get started, this is a quick reminder that everything in this podcast is of a general nature and nothing has been tailored to your personal circumstances. So please seek personal financial advice before acting on this information. Welcome back to Cash Talk, and today I'm joined by Mason. Mason, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. What we want to talk about today is something that we do see very often. I think it's more unexpected and more like not prepared. It's not something that people think about much, but it's when your plans pivot. And Mason, this is when unexpected changes happen and you have to move on your feet. And we see this all the time. This can happen in regards to some bigger things like a redundancy that was unexpected, or for example, having another child that you didn't expect. But Mason, these happen more often than not, don't they?
And they happen to all of us, as well. And anyone can make a plan during a good time. It's very easy, and we think that life is like this now, so it'll be like this in 10 years from now. But if you look back 10 years ago, chalk and cheese.
How do we even get through?
Exactly. And that's just your life, not to mention everything else that happens in the economy as well that's so unexpected. So the only thing that I know about a plan that is it's probably going to be wrong. And that's why pivots are so important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think plans, it's about putting you on the right direction. Yeah. It's making sure that your finances are optimized. You know, we're making sure we're ticking all the boxes. We're not losing on opportunities. We're jumping on them when they're possible. Controlling what we can control, but also being like, yep, things are going to change, and we need to be prepared for that change. And when you think about something like a redundancy, Mason, even though we don't have that redundancy in the roadmap, in the plan, as in when we don't know about it, I'm talking, we do put things in their finances to try and accommodate for that change, don't we?
Absolutely. And we talk about buffers all the time, and they're boring to talk about. It's like, we want a buffer for this, buffer for that. It's like, well, we've got so many buffers, but yeah, we do, because we need them. And when we do need them, thank goodness we have them. It's like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
You hope you never need it, but if you do need it, thank goodness you've got it.
People are very shocked at the start when I say to them, in most people's scenarios, we want to be aiming for 3 years worth of available funds in cash. And people are just like, John, that is huge. Like, I've heard about 3 months and 6 months. And this aim to get you from no reserve to 3 month reserve to 6 month reserve to 1 year reserve to 2 year reserve to 3 year reserve. When you have 3 years worth of living expenses or 3 years worth of income, depending on where you want to set it, 3 years in offset accounts usually, okay? Geez, you feel good, Mason. You feel like you can have another child and you're not going to fall over financially. You could have that redundancy and not fall over. There could be an economic disaster that happens financially speaking, and you can ride yourself through it. Yet on the flip side, people are like shocked when I tell them that that's the case. But when you boil down to the shock, it's more around like realizing, I believe, how unprepared most people are.
100%. And I think you don't realize how unprepared you are until this event happens. It's like, oh, I have that buffer in place. What am I going to do? But as you said, like if you have 3 years of living expenses, if the car blows up, you are not stressed one iota because we'll just fix the car. Having that money there, that takes away, not that finances are all the stresses in life, but they do make up a lot of them, and they can help out with a lot of them. So having that buffer is amazing. And the way you live life is so different when you have that buffer in place, because you can ride the ups and downs. You can take advantage of opportunities. How often do we hear people say, oh, I wish I had that deposit for that house then, because now what would it be worth? Yeah, exactly. And that's what having these buffers allows you to do. You can take advantage of other people's, not misfortunes, but when the markets do go down, people are forced to sell, I can buy those at a cheaper price.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that comes from discipline. It comes from sticking to a plan, building momentum, working your way to the first 3 months, then the first 6 months, then the first 9 months. But while you're on your journey, I'm going to use me as an example. Your wife falls pregnant and you're having your fourth. You weren't expected to have another fourth and you're having your fourth. Pudra, if you're watching, I don't know if I'm prepared for a fourth, but you get the gist. Is around, that's another one. You know, you're on the journey and another baby happens. And one of my very close friends is the exact situation. They've got 3 beautiful children and they're now having their fourth. And they're blessed to have their fourth. They want their fourth. But it was a bit unexpected, let's be honest, yeah? What happens there, Mason? What happens where you've got this plan unraveling? You don't have the time to have the buffer. What happens?
It's a really great question because it does happen. These things do happen, and then it takes a long time to build these buffers. So in the meantime, what does happen if we don't have the buffer and a pivot does happen with our financial plan? We revisit and we have a conversation because we want to remove the emotion from it. Because when these things happen, our brain goes on. It basically goes on fire. It's like threat, threat, threat.
Yeah, the fight or flight.
Fight or flight. So what do I do? Sell investments, sell the house,
Yep.
move away,
Yep.
change jobs.
Yep, and get rid of Mason.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's all these things. How can I cut? We take a step back first. It's
Get rid of the insurances.
Get rid of the insurance.
It's honestly, it goes down to, and people think when you're of a clear mind, what we just said doesn't sound logical, and it is not. It is the emotions driving from the fight or flight. It's, I need to just go into damage control and put Band-Aids on everything and just like go into my hole. Not thinking logically. Like someone that's having a baby and has already 3 children and having a fourth and then just getting rid of the insurance, for example, the protection of your family is actually reduced and you're increasing the risk, for example. Have you really assessed your cash flow requirements in regards to what buffers you do need? What kind of entitlements are you going to get? There's a thorough process that actually sits down, and to then have an advisor in that scenario that's thinking logically, not with emotion, is invaluable. But you know, I kind of use those scenarios as well too, as like you don't really know that your pilot's doing a great job until the turbulence is out of control and they've got your plane safely to where you got to go to. So, but let's get a bit more granular. So we think logically, we go through the steps, Mason. But there sometimes obviously is conversations around trade-offs, isn't there?
Absolutely. Trade-offs, probably my favorite word.
Yeah.
When it goes, well, what's the trade-off here? We're having the 4th child. What does this now mean for our other goals? And does it mean that we need to earn more money to continue on this plan as it was? Or do we change the plan? Is instead of holidays every 3 years, is it every 4 years now? Is education, we were going to send 3 kids to Pegs, for instance. Maybe have that 4 child. Okay, maybe Pegs isn't quite going to fit our budget now. What alternative schools do we look at? It's these types of conversations, these questions you probably don't ask yourself, but we're also trained to do this. And we see these opportunities. Okay, what can we change here? What can we change here? And sometimes it can be cutting some expenses down. Like, do we need to spend X, Y, Z on this?
Because we were spending there because we could.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people think, like, it's like we were doing this because we could. You know, I have these conversations with my wife all the time. We do a lot of things because we can. Should we? Maybe not. Yeah, but we do it because we can. And we enjoy it. We get real enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
But if push comes to shove, yeah, there's a few things on that list that we would be willing to trade off. Now, obviously, we've been conditioned for a long time to be able to go, but that is also very hard, Mason. You know, that is very hard for people to go and say, oh, now I need to trade off this.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you talk about, especially we use a kid as a scenario, that kid is going to be loved. You're going to love it. It's going to be the most special thing in your life. It is not going to go away, like as in it's your child. And so what's your alternative options? Like, you need to earn more. You need to discuss your expenses. Sometimes you don't need to, but you need to discuss it. And you have a clear plan on your income and your expenditure. And then once you've done that clear income and expenditure, you also need to look at how they link up to the goals that you're aiming for, your short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. In some cases, and I would say more often than not, Mason, they are a slight route change. Yeah, what I mean by that is around, like, we were going down one path, we missed the turnoff, we're going around, it's going to take us 2 or 3 minutes more. That's in most cases what it is when you think logically.
Yes.
But it's interesting around the fight or flight because it is the first reaction that people have. And this is why when people have these scenarios, we are very alert because of the emotions. And best thing to do is to sleep on it. Like, especially knowing that you're fallen pregnant, you're likely going to have the baby in, say, 8 months from now, once you found out and whatnot. Breathe. You know what I mean? Don't make rash decisions. Try and just go, okay, cool. Nothing's going to change for the next kind of 6 or 7 months until I need to go on mat leave. But just breathe. Think about it. Go through the plan. Execute on it. How are we going to kind of get through this? That's very, very important to get those emotions kind of down and more settled, because then once you have a clear mind, you can really go through it, and not just go through it, but thrive on the other end. That's the biggest thing I see.
Absolutely. I find often when I'm modeling out these scenarios for clients, it's like, oh, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought. It's like, oh, we can do this. We can definitely do this. Like, it was actually just my brain playing tricks on me.
And there's another trick that happens, Mason, down the track, if we use the baby as an example, is when the second income stops, for example, actually physically stops. And so you've got the, hey, we're having the baby, cut. Second part is around, okay, now we've lost 40% of our income, say. Yeah, we've lost 40% of our income, and we've got more mouths to feed. We've got all of these extra expenditure. We really have to come in, Mason, at that point and do that kind of revalidation, don't we? We really kind of need to set the scene again around, like, we've planned for this. Yes. Because there's this re-heightened of emotions, isn't there?
Absolutely. I find this usually creeps in right around when the government payments stop. It's like, oh, that's stopped now. My leave is stopped from work. There's literally nothing coming in on my side of the bracket now. It's purely my partner's income at this point in time.
Yep.
We need to cut again. It's like, maybe, but also it's like, no, actually, we planned for this. We know the buffs are here. We keep spending to what we want to spend to. We're going to be fine. This is what the plan's all about. But it is a scary thing once that payment stops coming through. It's similar to retirement. The payment stops coming through. Where are we going to get paid now? I say it retirement. I say it at this stage as well. It's a different stage of life, obviously, but same symptoms.
And it's usually temporary. Retirement's permanent. Yeah. Like in most people's cases, they don't plan on going back to work once they've retired. And so there's this psychology that happens when people are retiring around, like, they're scared to retire because they're scared that they understand that the tap's not turning back on. And, you know, sometimes you'll have that client that will say, oh, I want to retire when I'm 60. 60 comes, celebrate the birthday, give them a couple of months, and, hey, you know, when are you telling the boss? Oh, I don't know. I'm enjoying work. Cool. How long are you going to work for? Another 6 months. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Till the end of the year. Yeah, cool. Comes end of the year. Oh, you know, I really like my job. They're going to give me another 12 months. You know, it's not really hard. Another 12 months. There's obviously a lot of factors going on there, but people who all open up as well too, there is this general kind of concern. Mason, you sure the numbers are right? You sure? Like, yep. You sure? Yep. Mate, I've triple checked these. I've done them over a bit. Mate, I've done it. You know, in some cases, like, oh, mate, I've put all of your money in cash, and you can, like, it's you're fine. Yeah. But it's the same thing that when you have these derailments, because your emotions are getting the better of you, and it's trying to kind of filter out the emotions. And we are human. We are irrational. We are emotional. And so this is why we need to kind of look outside and look externally. But Mason, we've talked about redundancies and we've talked about, you know, where the emotions and sticking to the plan and the trade-offs. Is there any other pivots that come to mind that affect a person's plan?
Oh,
well, we've got economically and financial as well.
Of course, absolutely. And just getting a new job can change things. Like, it could be I'm going to start in a whole new career, so your income might go down, or the other direction. It's like, oh, my income's actually doubling because I'm got a promotion, or they've got this really great opportunity. I start my own business. These types of things. That changes everything. And then you realize, we can actually, the things that we were too scared to want, we can now do these things. So that's another big pivot. But I think something else I think is really important as well is normalizing the deficit years.
Oh, yes. Yes,
so
good one.
We go through our modeling clients, and I think particularly on maternity leave, and you see years where there's deficit cash flow, And you see the red numbers. And I remember I always speak to my clients like, we've planned a deficit. It's okay. There's going to be years where we do have deficits, and years around having the children and education. It might be even a car upgrade at a certain point in time, where years the inflow doesn't match the outflow, or the outflow exceeds the inflow. And that's okay some years.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Mason as well, looking at it in entirety, like you're not working towards, how can I say, the goal is not to get to the end of the year. Do you know what I mean? It's the goal is what are we achieving in that 10-year, 15-year, 20-year time frame. And so sometimes there is going to be requirements for you to go into a deficit cash flow to retain the investments that we're compounding over so many years, to retain the strategy that we're doing. So like cash flow is just one element. Now, don't get me wrong. We want surplus cash flow as much as possible. But sometimes in certain circumstances, there needs to be the deficit cash flow to accommodate for the requirements of life. And a financial plan without taking your life into consideration is a horrible plan. It's the financial plan needs to be solely centered on achieving the life you want and showing you how to get there. Mason, I don't like saying no. I know you don't like saying no. I don't like saying to a client, no, you can't have this. No, you can't have that. We were recently working with a client that were adamant to retire at 60. I went back and I kind of said, I didn't say to her, no, you can't retire when you were 60, but I'm like, is there any trade-offs that you're willing to do? Because it was actually looking quite difficult for them to do that, and they only had a short runway. But as I do, and as Mason does, I went there and I said, okay, cool. I'm going to show you how we're going to make that happen. They bought into that process of showing them what needs to happen to get to their goal. So, but more importantly, the financial plan was just a vehicle to enable that life to happen. It wasn't because we were trying to maximize their life. I couldn't care less if they had, from $10 million to $11 million worth of assets. Like, who cares? It's around, are they going to achieve their life? So you need to ask yourself, by stopping all of these things in a deficit cash flow, what am I actually doing to achieve the life I want? And for people that have stopped, Mason, and have done the whole, I want to cancel this, and Mason, I don't care who you are, I'm going to stop it all, and I don't want all of this. Cool. Tell me how you're improving. Like, what have you done? Okay, I've stopped it all, and therefore we can improve cash flow, and I can pay off my debt. Cool. You've just lost a year of investing minimum. When are you going to invest back in? You're now usually not protected. You have no sounding board in regards to making sure you're on track. You don't have someone keeping you accountable, having a clear mind. You have no clarity in regards to you're going back to before you even started. So, like, when you think about it logically, it makes no sense, does it, Mason?
Absolutely not. It's very much a Band-Aid approach. You'll feel better in the moment. So, I've done this stuff because you've done the thing. You've taken some action. You feel like you're making progress because you've taken action. But sometimes action isn't the thing to do. Sometimes action is actually a backward step.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you were saying that example, I was just thinking of another example of another client we worked with recently. And they recently got out of a marriage. Talk about a pivot. That's a major change when it comes to your plan. No one plans for this. When you get married, you plan for life. But sometimes things happen. And it's huge. And I remember this client, they now have the home. They also have the big mortgage now and have the one income and children going to school. All of a sudden, it's a lot all at once. And not only that, you're taking on the responsibility of these things. Like, you haven't got a partner in crime. It's like, you haven't got someone to talk to about these things. Like, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for that? It's very much you're in the weeds of it. My goodness, that's hard.
Yes.
And then going through, I know we're going through the modeling with this person and showing them the opportunities and showing them that if you can do X, Y, and Z, this can happen. And if you consider doing this, then this can happen. And you could see the relief. I was like,
Definitely. Yeah. And what's interesting is, Mason, on that point, so the opportunity you show, the clarity you show, but Mason's job's not done. He knows that. See, the thing is around, that's the motivation. It's, this is what's possible. That's great. I'm going to go put on my gym equipment. I'm going to start training again. But it's fragile. It's fragile because the habits and the behaviors have not changed yet. The light bulb's gone off. The invisible ceiling has been broken. but the behavior to match hasn't. Yeah. And so if a derailment happens for that particular client, let's say she had a redundancy. How fragile is that situation only working with this person for a short period of time, Mason?
Oh, it's insanely fragile. Nothing's taken root yet. It hasn't had time to. So it's about being there and reminding them, hey, it's all right. We're going to get through this. We plan.
So, Mason, are you going to go for this client and just get her into a debt recycling strategy? Are you going to go high risk and just going to put everything, all chips on the table? Like, you wouldn't be doing that, would you?
Absolutely not. It's all about the gradual steps and knowing you need to meet the person where they're at this point in time, and then you need their identity to move to become that person they want to be, because you are your identity. So if you identify as a smoker, for example, you're going to smoke. But if I'm not a smoker, so therefore I'm not tempted by cigarettes. If you still identify yourself as a smoker who's not currently smoking, you likely will in the future.
Yeah.
Because that is still your identity. So you need to gradually build up this new identity. I'm someone who invests. I'm someone who saves money. I'm someone who considers all these things before making a decision. And that takes time.
It does, Mason. And it's interesting that I see so many people start their journey. They go finances, go debt recycle, which essentially is just borrowing money to invest. Let's be honest, guys. It's borrowing money to invest off your principal place of residence to turn the non-deductible into deductible debt. And the reality is of it, which a lot of people don't speak about, is the added risk. The risk of things failing, all of these derailments they're talking about, buying that investment property off the plan and doing all of these weird and wonderful things that people do. Yeah. If he did this for this client, I would be pulling him up. We would be having a meeting and I'd be saying, have you got rocks in your head? Have you not slept? Because the reality is what Mason's doing is protecting the person to build up that identity that they were speaking about to weather any storm. Any storm. Now, don't get me wrong. Down the track, Mason may consider it. But I'm telling you, for the first probably 3 years, he's not even going to think about it with this person. Not even think about it. It's not even a part of the thought process at all because the person's situation is so fragile. Oh, yeah, John, but what happens if I've got 2 good incomes and I've got really good buffers? I could not care less. Unless you have shown me the mindset and the habits and the behaviors, why are we going to take on unnecessary risk to create less certainty of achieving the life you want? Give me the logic. Now, I know I'm getting heated up from this, but for me, it's like you want certainty of achieving the life you want. You don't want uncertainty. So, and I think, Mason, that most people just don't think about these unexpected risks. Now, we haven't touched on it, but I want to delve into a little bit because we've had really kind of good markets. Property's gone up. Interest rates have been quite good in regards to returns on cash rates and stuff like that. I would say that lending's kind of settled down in regards to rates and stuff like that. And the stock market has been quite good, over the last few years especially. So people are looking at it. Things are making money. But as we know, this doesn't last. Yeah. And there's always going to be a market correction. And when market correction happen, you see who's swimming naked. Okay. So the term is when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked. Essentially what that means is that when these crashes happen, have you done all of the risk mitigation? Have you got all your ducks lined up? Have you got are you in the situation like Mason was talking about to be greedy when people are fearful and fearful when people are greedy? Now, I know from our clients by building up these things and sticking to this process that they are the ones that are going to be taking advantage of this scenario. And Mason, if I have to be brutally honest, I love corrections. Love it. Because for me, rather than spending $100 on a stock, for example, I'm now spending $50 on a stock and I'm getting that entry point at a 50% discount, for example. But that can show some real big derailments on people's finances in regards to their psychology around it, isn't it?
Absolutely. You find that when markets are going well, we want to keep more. And I actually had an example of this last night, for instance. So I was having dinner at home with my mum and my brother. And my brother comes up to me and says, "Oh, what are your thoughts on silver?"
Oh.
I was like, and if you know my brother, he never asks these questions.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, I don't really know. Like, what's the what's the goal with silver? What do you want with silver? He's like, oh,
And just wait, just so you can understand what Mason's doing. He understands what's going on in silver, just so you know. Yeah. So he knows what's going on with silver. But asking the question is in regards to like at his brother's level, which is like, oh, actually, explain to me like what's going on with silver. Mason's automatically getting to why he's actually asking that question. Yeah, anyway.
exactly. And he said, oh, I bought silver a year ago. It's done really well. I want to buy more of it. I was like, okay, interesting. And why do you want more of it? I was like, oh, because it's going to keep going up. And it may. It also may not. And if you look at the fun exercise, look at the chart of silver as of today, it's done spectacularly well. But if you look over a 10-year time, it was flat for so long. And then just shot up. But it reminds me of a graph of, say, another type of currency, Bitcoin, for example. Very similar graph. And it goes down.
Yeah, and I think, Mason, when it comes to any investment opportunity, it's around it feels good when you feel like you've made a great decision. But you feel horrible when you make a bad decision. So we want to try and make as many good decisions as we can, obviously, and not make bad decisions. Fundamentally, when it comes to things like silver, gold, Bitcoin, whatever, goes back to my thesis around investing, is around if the asset doesn't derive an income, I don't want to invest in it. Now, that's cool. People can say, John, you've got rocks in your head. You can, and I will live and die by my thesis. But that's cool. That's my thesis. If you want to go speak to someone else who has a different thesis, that's cool by you too. The greatest investors of all time, one of them being Warren Buffett, has a really good kind of approach to this. And if you want to type in, for example, Warren Buffett theory on gold, okay, and go have a look at it because it applies to both cryptocurrency, which he believes is poison, but also around the other currencies like silver. Biggest things with things like silver is around speculation. Like Mason talked about with his brother and like a lot of people, it is going to be the next big thing. It's going to this, it's going to that, it's going to that, but it also may not. So once again, am I building my financial plan on uncertainty or am I building it on certainty? I want to bring in as much certainty of achieving the goal as much as possible. So you need to have, how can I say that? How can I have conviction in that? How can I believe that? How can I live and die by that sword? Is because of my mindset, because of my behaviors, and because of my emotions. I do not let them get the better of me when it comes to my finances. When Bitcoin's screaming and people are making millions, I'm not interested. Mason's not interested. Why? Because he knows that the plan he's got will achieve his life as long as he sticks to it. Now, don't get me wrong. There is some scenarios where you have achieved financial independence. You have more money than you can dream of, and you have literally perpetually got to the point where your stocks, your property, your cash is all sorted, and you've got to a particular point. If you're worth $10 million and you want to drop 100 grand into silver, good luck to you. Do you know what I mean? Like but that's not you fundamentally creating your plan to get you out the hole, to get you do you know what I mean, Mason? And then people say to me, oh, John, but to get from here to here, there's no hope that I'm going to get in here unless I do these kind of erotic investing. I also get that too. But also what I do get is, have you looked at yourself? Have you looked at yourself? How are you truly being brutally honest with yourself and going, no, I could earn more. I could work harder. I could learn. I could invest in myself. I could tighten up where I spend. Usually when I rip it all out and I put it all, you're looking at that because you believe that's the easiest way to get to your scenario. And this is the same, for example, when people take steroids and because they believe that's the easiest way to get to the goal because they don't want to do all the hard stuff that's involved.
Yep, absolutely.
And when you go to major events of derailment, if you got there easy without the effort and the reward, when the crash happens, you run the other way. And this is where this kind of FOMO markets kill people. Isn't it, Mason?
Absolutely. And I think not funny, but an analogy I was like, if it's easy, then it's probably wrong.
Yeah.
Like if it was that easy, then everyone would just do it.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then like you got a question like, oh, why isn't everyone doing this then? That's my thing. I'm just like, if it's easy, it's probably wrong. Like the hard, a lot of good stuff is on the other side of hard. Like you go through hard things in life and you look back and it's like, oh, that was actually, I'm really glad that happened because it meant X, Y, and Z.
The greatest things in my life that have ever happened is because of the effort that I put to get them. Greatest. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I think about everything I've done, Bridget might take a laugh and say it didn't about the kids, but no. Well, honestly, it's effort. Like taking care of them and the love and everything you sacrifice. But really, to love something and truly enjoy it, there's a sense of sacrifice and effort that comes behind it. If everything's easy and effortless, it just becomes just not worth it. You know? So, yeah, I definitely believe that a lot of people are trying to get the easy way out. But I also think that going back to originally around, I think there's a lot of people that still are very naive about the amount of change that happens in their life, the amount of pivoting that needs to happen. If you look back at the last 10 years of your life, so if you look back, we're recording this in 2026, if you go back to 2016 and you think about where your life was back in 2016 to where it is today, you know, Mason was shaking his head just then and I shake my head. I can't believe how much has happened in the last 10 years. You know, there's been this new trend, people posting 2016 where they are and where they are today. I looked at my 2016 thing, I'm like, oh my goodness, like look at our life back then. Look at what we were doing. So much changes in your personal life, so much changes economically speaking. So when it comes to your finances, you can't predict, but you can prepare. And that's what you need to focus on. Mason, love that.
I think you landed the plane.
I feel like that. I feel like I've landed the plane. Guys, that was a very good topic. I absolutely love diving deep into it, and I really hoped you got a lot out of that. But if you're liking these sessions, make sure you share and share these with your friends and family. Make sure you like and subscribe on all major channels. Until next time, have a good one, and thanks, Mason.
Thank you.
Cheers.